new hot and techy Brezza, the City Bred SUV.
Seven versus 8 on the points table, both with some recent form behind them, but both hoping for a lot to fall their way if they are to stay in contention. RCB versus Punjab Kings in Dharamsala is match number 58. Let's build up to it on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout, powered by JBL, in the company of Ian Bishop and Mitch McClenaghan. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Given the pace bowling company we have, might as well focus on two pace bowlers, both of whom have a lot of importance for India with the World Cup coming up. Mohammed Siraj and Arshdeep Singh. Let's start with Siraj. Bish, he had a difficult start to the season, got one game's break, and after that, he's looked a much better bowler. What do you put that down to?
I don't know if it's a perception, and certainly for the last 4 games that he's been sort of in the power play, he's been taking more wickets, he's been more economical generally, and he seems to be running in with a lot more energy, getting the ball to do a little bit more, I think, than he did earlier. I don't know whether that's a change in grip or whatever the case is, but it's great to see the energy with which he's bowling, and that has translated itself into what's happening in terms of his numbers. So, as you say, it's the right time for India. Maybe too late for RCB, we don't know, but I'm happy to see him swinging it and hitting the pitch. That
rhythm Bish speaks about, is it the form or just getting a wicket that brings greater rhythm, or does it work the other way around?
Yeah, look, Shashank spoke about he thought he'd seen his run-up become more angled, and you know, when you're a side-on bowler who's a swing bowler, sometimes that angle can get your alignment a little bit better. Helps you hold that shoulder just that little bit longer through your action, which is key to be able to swing that ball late, as you spoke about there, Bish. So maybe there has been some technical work that he's done, but you definitely saw from the previous game where he got a couple of wickets, and then this game, as soon as he got a wickets, you saw that increase in energy. And sometimes in T20 cricket, when things aren't going your way, you actually take the foot off the throttle and you come back and try and place the ball because you're worried about going for runs, as opposed to actually running in and bowling with 110%. So it looks like there's a genuine shift in the effort that he's putting in. And I think that's on the back of some confidence with wickets under his belt, but also maybe a few technical things that might have just clicked for him.
Now, when you look the other side, to Punjab and Arshdeep Singh, it's hard to go by numbers this season. A death overs economy of 12, above 12, reads bad, but in this kind of a season, is it as bad? But what have you made, Bish, of Arshdeep's bowling in general, and especially at the death?
I'm worried about the death aspect of it for the reason that his selection in the team is based, one, on what he can do up front with the new ball and swinging, and at times he's done that well, but he has to be able to partner Jasprit Bumrah at the back end if he's chosen, let's say, ahead of Siraj or along with Siraj and Jasprit. And that Yorker, I like the angles that I'm seeing him try to execute, but that Yorker isn't being executed as often as I would like to see it, and as often as he's done in the past when he's been in his best form. And sometimes, like I think it was a game against CSK, he would bowl like 2 or 3 overs for 20. Yeah. And then that last over just travels. Yeah. And he ends up going for 50. So that's a little bit of a concern for me, hitting that Yorker.
Yeah, you look at the last few games in particular. There was that last over in the chase against Rajasthan Royals, where he bowled 2 full tosses to Hetmeyer, which proved decisive. The last game against CSK, which Bish points out against Jadeja, just missing those Yorkers more often. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's a release point thing when it comes to Yorker. You only got to release it a fraction early for it to come out as that low full toss. So, and it has been varying between when he's gone for the wide Yorker to the right-handers and the straight Yorker to the left-handers, or vice versa. So he's potentially in a position where he's going to have different cues on different line of Yorkers. So it looks like he's missing a lot of his wide Yorkers on the shorter side. So they're turning into half volleys, where the straight ones he's actually getting on the fuller side. So whatever his cues are, might be a visual point. May need to look at adjusting those on those lines, because he relies on his Yorkers heavily. Or he can go the opposite way, right? Well, we've talked about Harshal Patel, how everyone was just setting up for his slow ball bounces and starting to take it down, and then he started to bowl more Yorkers. So, you know, Arshdeep could look at that as well. Instead of always going to that Yorker early in the over, he could maybe look at using his slow ball bouncer early to actually try and get himself ahead of the over if he's not executing his Yorkers straight away. It'll give him a bit more of a margin when he does go for the Yorker.
All right, let's talk batting now. RCB come into this on the back of 3 wins in a row. 3 games where you've seen stability in their batting order. The only change in the last 3 games is bringing Maxwell in for Lomror. Comes after 8 games and 7 losses, sadly. But have they finally found the right batting combination?
I think so. If they won the last 3 games on the trot, Will Jacks was brilliant with that 100. Patida, I thought, was outstanding in the game against Hyderabad, taking down spin. And then you look at the opening partnership in the last game with Faf in particular and Virat. There was a wobble beyond that, but at least they found something that is working for them. And more than anything else, and one of my colleagues made a comment about it during the Faf-Kohli partnership. He said, where was this intent earlier in the season? And I think that's the key substance and ingredient there. The intent with which they've played has been something that we saw in the Jacks, Patida, and then the opening partnership. Not reckless, but intent.
What do you put that down to? Are they more freed up? Are Kohli and Faf more freed up, knowing that you have a Jacks and Patidar who are making runs and making it at the kind of clip they are?
I think in terms of Kohli's intent to spin, I think Patidar's contribution to the team over the last 4 or 5 games has led him to feel like he's got someone behind him who can take down spin and actually have an impact on the game. So he in himself maybe believes that, and I'm speculating here, maybe believes that he doesn't need to see himself through that innings. He can be more aggressive to spin all the guys in the middle. So because he's got people behind him who aren't going to waste balls and are going to come out and be destructive against spin during the middle. So on Kohli's point of view, I think that could be a factor. Faf, there was a definite point. There was a post-match interview or an interview where he spoke about no longer is there a time for batters to take 6-7 balls to get yourself in, and with the impact rule, that's kind of what has changed. And I think since he realised that in the media, I think he's changed his tactic. I think he's gone, well, I can't be that guy anymore. I can't take 6-7 balls to get myself in. And we've seen a different Faf du Plessis since then.
Quick selection call. Do you continue to back Maxwell?
I think so. I think you're hoping that he gives you one of those match-winning performances, or what he can bring for you with the ball and what he can bring to you with the field. And then when you've got a winning combination that has gone on 3 on a trot, I mean, unless you can make it better, you don't change it.
So do we back RCB to make it 4 in a row?
I think the Kings stumbled last game under some pressure because they were back in the running, and I think they would have learned from that. So I'm going to go with Punjab.
Fish?
I'm going to go RCB.
If RCB are to win, it'll be the first time since April 2021 that they won 4 on the bounce. Back then, AB de Villiers still used to play for them.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.